Hey everyone, how's it going? This might be genuinely one of the most difficult challenges I've ever attempted. Among pre-evolved Pokemon, Abra is a bit of a superstar. It has really good speed and unbelievable special attack. Its special defense is actually pretty decent too, but its other stats aren't so great, especially its attack and defense. Which is exactly why this is now the third time I'm gonna try to beat a Pokemon game without using any special moves, meaning base 20 physical attack. That is what we have to use to beat this game. This is a completely unmodified version of Pokemon Sapphire. The only change is that we changed Torchic into Abra. And we're gonna do my favorite thing to do, that's sarcasm, resetting for a good Abra. Unfortunately, in Ruby and Sapphire, this means getting in a battle, going to the Pokemon menu, and looking at Abra's stats and comparing them to a chart. What do we want to see? Well, there's two values I'm looking for: 8 in attack and an adamant nature. 8 in attack actually isn't that unlikely. It's actually a 3 in 8 chance that any Abra will have 8 in attack. It's the adamant nature that's much more difficult to get. Natures begin in Generation 3 and they increase one stat by 10% and decrease another by 10%. Unsurprisingly, for a physical attacking Abra, we want to increase attack. So theoretically, there are 4 natures that could work. But in reality, we don't want to lower our special defense, or our speed. Our special attack is useless in this challenge, so that's what we want to lower. But unfortunately for me, that gives me just over a 1% chance of finding an Abra that's suitable. So a lot of resetting. Or you could get just insanely lucky, and it took me only about 2 minutes to get the Abra I wanted. That's insane. But what if I told you getting the Abra was realistically the easy part? You see, there's something you should know about Abra. We talked about its stats, but what about its moveset? Can we get some more moves? No, when it comes to level up moves, these are all the moves Abra gets. But don't worry, it does learn some TMs. A lot of TMs. So it looks like things are going to be fine. But if you take a closer look at most of those TMs, you'll notice they're either special attacking moves, which we've banned for this challenge, or moves that don't deal any damage. So if we want to look at the moves Abra can actually use to, attack, here is our list. That massive TM list is now down to potentially just 8 TMs, depending on what type Hidden Power is. In Generation 3, whether it's a physical or special attack is determined by what type Hidden Power was. And wouldn't you know, it was Hidden Power Water. So now we're down to just 7 moves. And beyond the fact we don't have a lot of type diversity to these moves, there's another much bigger and more immediate problem. None of these TMs will be available to me by the time I battle Roxanne. In fact, they're not going to be available to me for a while. Thus, we're going to have to rely on Struggle by using up all 20 power points of Teleport. Thankfully, Abra is fast, so we just get into a battle and teleport 20 times. Not too big a deal. And then we have to rely on a mere base 50 power typeless move. Thankfully, it's not normal, so Roxanne's rock Pokemon won't resist it. And speaking of Roxanne, we're going to have to level up a ton in order to beat her. And I'm not just leveling up against random Pokemon either. I specifically go and battle a bunch of wild Poochyena to increase my attack, because KOing Poochyena gives increases to attack through the EV system. And so between battling those Pooches and a bunch of trainers, by the time we battle Roxanne, we're at level 19, and you can see this is not going to work whatsoever. Now, in Ruby and Sapphire, Roxanne only has one Geodude and a Nose Pass, but, I mean, we're doing like no damage, and Rock Tomb does a ton of damage. So even though I'm 5 levels higher, we're nowhere close to actually defeating Roxanne yet. Now you can see I'm already at level 25, and by the way, still not enough to beat Roxanne. And you might be thinking, geez, J-Rose, trying to grind experience versus level 4 Poochyena might be the worst thing I can imagine. And it's not. There's lots of worse things I've done. And other people like AbSolBlog's Pokemon has done this all the way to level 100, so I'm good. But there is something you should know. I have an elite team of 5 Zigzagoon. because their pickup ability will allow me to pick up items. And in Ruby and Sapphire, this isn't determined based on their level. This and Fire and Leaf Green are the only games where pickup works that way, but there is a chance we can get a rare candy. And so after only an hour of this, I'm able to battle Roxanne again, this time at level 28, so I'm double her Geodude's level. You can see I'm still not doing half. In fact, I'm doing closer to a third, but this is okay because what Roxanne's gonna do is use up her potions with her Geodude, which is the much worse Pokemon. We don't want her to use potions on Nosepass, which is far stronger and bulkier. Now, this Nosepass in Emerald would be going for Rock Tomb every turn. Thankfully, in Ruby and Sapphire, I think it just attacks randomly. Harden wasn't great, but it doesn't matter if I get a critical hit. And while this battle definitely was a little lucky, I'm at level 28. Believe me when I say I don't care. I mean, I'm using Struggle. There's really not much in terms of strategy here. We kind of have to get by this gym to get TMs. By the way, when do we get those TMs? Ah, I have a chart for you. You see, I changed the hearts to represent how many gym badges we need to get the TMs. And the answer is bad. We're not going to be able to use any moves other than Struggle until after Watson. And in case you'd be like, J-Rose, what about the Move Tutor moves? That's Emerald, and also no, but that's Emerald. We're in Ruby and Sapphire. There is no Move Tutor. Abra gets all of 7 moves, and you need at least 3 gym badges to get the first 2. Thankfully, the second gym badge is going to be pretty easy because we're so ridiculously over-leveled. There are just so many trainers you can access, not really around Dewford, but around Slateport, that by the time we actually battle Brawly, we're at level 31. It's still not a 2-shot versus Machop. And just like with Roxanne, Brawly only has 2 Pokemon. If you remember Emerald, he has 3. We get another clutch critical hit, and then out comes Makuhita. Makuhita has pretty good HP, but awful defense, so it is going to be a 2-hit KO, and thankfully he went for Knockoff, which is a special attacking move. Maybe we should do special attacking Makuhita next. That's a joke. Makuhita can learn all of 2 special attacking moves, so it's even worse than Abra. But regardless, this was a pretty easy gym battle. What was more difficult was Rival 2. I've actually battled her a few times, and I lost pretty badly, which is why I battled all the trainers and I'm so over-leveled for Brawly. To beat Rival 2, we had to go all the way up to level 38, if you can believe it. And there's a few reasons for this. We also got a clutch miss with Stun Spore. Now, Abra can have 2 abilities. I should note I have Synchronize, which is pretty good, but we do 1-shot Nummel, and most importantly, we 2-shot Marshtomp, and we outspeed even after Mudshot. That's what we needed to have happen in order to win, which, as you can tell, is not easy for my Abra. So thank you, Army of Zigzagoons, for giving me rare candies. But we finally made it to the great gatekeeper, Watson. If we get by him, we get access to Secret Power, and then a little bit later, Return, which are way better than Struggle, and no recoil damage is pretty nice. But we actually have to beat Watson in order to get those moves, and that's not going to be easy, at least I don't think so. Watson has 3 Pokemon. He leads with Magnemite. We're at level 40, and we're doing over half. In the very first battle, I forgot to equip the Cherry Berry, which is pretty important since we don't want to be paralyzed. In Gen 3, there's no chance Thunder Wave misses. Thankfully, it goes for Thunder Shock, which is good. That means our Cherry Berry can activate later. Voltorb is a 2-hit KO, and thankfully doesn't paralyze us either with Spark or Static, which I'm pretty sure it has. But then Magneton comes out, it's going to be a 3-hit KO, and turns out being paralyzed was the least of my worries. I just don't have enough HP. Shockwave is fairly powerful, I'm a frail Abra, and we're going to have to level up even more. Thankfully, there's like 1 million trainers around Mauville City. Unfortunately, less than Emerald, but still enough that hopefully by the time we're done, Watson won't be so bad. Unfortunately, he was still quite bad. We're only at level 41. We're just so high level. Gaining levels at this point is really difficult. In this battle, we have to use our Cherry Berry right away, but we get a critical hit versus Voltorb, which is really good. Unfortunately, it's still not enough. That said, even though Magneton paralyzes us with Synchronize, it paralyzes Magneton. In Gen 3, electric Pokemon can be paralyzed. Of course, it goes for Supersonic and then Sonic Boom and I lose, which is going to happen a lot. After 7 more losses, however, this happened. We use Struggle, Magneton uses Thunder Wave, which is annoying, but fine. We have more HP, that means, 71 in fact. Struggle does not crit, but Sonic Boom does miss. Super Potion is used here, which is fine. We knock out Voltorb with 50 HP. Magneton comes out, no crit, Thunder Wave synchronize, no crit here. It's paralyzed, however, and it worked out perfectly that Watson had too much health to heal, but not enough health to tank 3 struggles. And so finally we get that elusive 3rd gym badge, and we don't have to use Struggle anymore. Well, at least not in any major battle. There's still one last battle where I have to use Struggle. We're gonna knock out the Pokemon, save the game, talk to the guy, and we will be getting our first physical move, 70 base power, lots of weird added effects. But I don't care, it doesn't take away recoil damage, it's Secret Power. There is one negative to using Secret Power though. If you have to face something like an Aeron, even though I am 23 levels higher, I actually still lose, if you can believe it. But alright, let's skip ahead to the Archie battle on top of Mount Chimney. Here are the issues: we're hit by Intimidate, so Secret Power is going to be a 3-shot. Thankfully, since this is considered a rocky terrain, it can confuse at a 30% chance. And that helped us versus Mightyena, but Golbat makes quick work of us. Sadly, the only way I really saw doing this without sacrificing some plans I have for the later game is to just try and get lucky with Confusion and Secret Power. And that's what happens in this, the 7th battle. We get double hit and Confusion on Mightyena, and then Golbat misses with Supersonic. It misses with Supersonic. Super Potion is fine, but still I'm at full HP. It knocks out Golbat, and then I would have had Sharpedo to deal with. If only Intimidate weren't a thing, this would be really easy, and I could have technically gotten the White Herb, but I want to save that for now, so I had to go for, well, to be honest, I think the Supersonics were luckier, the fact it picked it twice and missed twice, but we'll take it. I think it should be clear at this point that while Secret Power is definitely nice, and being able to go to the Pokemon Center, not having to worry about power points, that saves a lot of time, but in terms of making these difficult battles easier, the results have been, well, so far a little mixed. But let's see how it does versus Flannery. The Pokemon I'm most worried about here is Torkoal, the final one. We go for Secret Power and don't one-shot. Since it's in a gym, it leads to Paralysis, which is kind of nice, and we knock out the Slugma while still at full HP. Slugma 2, it goes for Light Screen, that's fine. Wastes another Hyper Potion, and we knock out Slugma 2. Now out comes the Torkoal. I go for Secret Power, it gets paralyzed. Oh wow, getting really lucky, really lucky. Okay, well, that was just simply absurd. I mean, Secret Power definitely contributed to that, being that it paralyzed the Torkoal, but yeah, that probably should have taken more attempts. The truth is, if I had leveled just 1 or 2 levels higher, I would have one-shot the Slugma, which actually would have been worse, since Flannery had to waste her Hyper Potions. But yeah, a first try victory versus a gym leader with Physical Abra. Let's go! The next gym leader, however, is one I'm always very worried about, especially in Ruby and Sapphire. I mean, Slacking is always a scary Pokemon, but in this game, Norman has 2 of them. He leads with the first Slacking, and this could go so badly. I go for Return. You get that by trading the Meteor in Fall Arbor Town, in case you're wondering. Then I go for Secret Power. You can see that Return is doing a lot more damage, but the lack of paralysis is a problem. Unfortunately, while Abra can learn Protect, it's locked away in Lily Cove, so I'm stuck with these moves. I try to get a paralysis. Of course, its main move is Facade. That's the TM you get from this gym. So I think it's appearing pretty clearly how just, we got the paralysis, but then Facade. Like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by this gameplay. I think this shows you just how difficult this is going to be. In this attempt, it uses Yawn, which is theoretically very good, but then I fall asleep. Goes for Yawn again, so if I wake up, maybe, but nah, there's Facade. I don't know what I'm going to do here. We might just have to level up. I don't have too many options. Theoretically, I could go for a Chesto Berry and try to wait for a yawn, but maybe that'll get me through slacking number 1. I don't know how useful that would be against the rest of Norman's team, however, especially because it would consume the Chesto Berry. Now, what really sucks about losing consistently to Norman is that this is a really awkward point of the game. A lot of really cool strategies that will become available to me are locked behind Surf, which I only get for defeating Norman, and there's not even really any more trainers I get to battle after beating Flannery. I didn't do the Trick House, however, so I can level up a little bit, but I'm not seeing what 2 or 3 levels are really going to do. Not that I seem to have much of a choice. Well, after beating all those trainers and getting some lucky rare candy from my pickup slackings, I am at level 51, it goes for Yawn, and Return does knock it out in 3 hits. Or should I say it would have if Norman didn't use a Hyper Potion, but that's okay. I can still knock out Slacking before it attacks me. The next Pokemon is Vigoroth. I go for Return. Slash is fine, I guess. But now, what are we going to do against this final Slacking? Nothing. So, do I need to get a crit against Vigoroth? I don't even think I would tank a single hit from the final Slacking. But are we just relying on crazy luck? Like, now I'm at 15 HP, what do I even do here? Like, we can knock out Slacking consistently. That's good. It's a big improvement that we can consistently knock out the first Slacking. But it seems like if it attacks me, Vigoroth is just going to instantly KO me. I've been battling Norman for about 10 minutes now of real time, so I don't want to know what the in-game time would be. And you can see I've adjusted my strategy from the Chesto Berry to the King's Rock. Very unlikely to get that, but I've leveled up so much, I've picked it up via my Zigzagoon army. And the hope is to get it against either Vigoroth or the final Slacking, but it's not a very high chance of it activating. Just 10% every time I attack with a physical move. At this point, I think I'm just going to try a few more times, and if it doesn't work, by the way, now Yawn is really bad because I don't have the Chesto Berry, and if I get hit by a Facade, I pretty much just have to give up. This is such a luck-based strategy, I don't really know. Maybe I'll just have to level up a lot more. This is probably one of my last times. We get the flinch, which is really good, and we already know now, once we get that first flinch, thankfully, what you may or may not know is that it still counts as the non-truant's turn, so Slacking still can't attack, which is really good and a big reason I like using King's Rock versus Slacking. We get hit by Vigoroth, so once again, it boils down to a 10% chance. We get it. Is this going to be a 3 KO? Let's go. 10% odds. That's what we had to rely on, but with a physical Abra, I don't mind it so much. I will say it's a little unfair to Slacking that the flinch counts as the turn Slacking was supposed to attack, as opposed to pushing that back. Because if it worked the way that I think it should, this strategy would have been completely useless. But hey, that's what this game gets for not giving me access to Protect before Surf. And in this game, you gotta go and talk to Wally's dad. But now that we have Surf, a ton of the game is open to us. There are a ton more, I say a ton, but there's a few more moves that we can use. Return is still gonna be one of our best moves at 102 base power. You better bet my Abra is at max friendship at this point. The question I need to think about is which moves do I need to get? And how are we going to get by the remaining 3 gym leaders? Now, we can skip Winona, but I decided to see how Abra would do, and we nearly one-shot Swellow. That means Winona's going to heal, so I go for Secret Power and knock out the Swellow. Her next Pokemon is a Pelipper. I go for Return, and I get confused, but I don't hit myself in confusion, and it's a 2-shot. However, remember how we talked about Aeron being a problem? Well, Skarmory, I have Focus Punch, and it's a 150 base power move, assuming Skarmory doesn't attack. You can see I still have the King's Rock, but that look I just gave is the look of someone who doesn't think this is going to happen anytime soon. And Skarmory is the biggest reason why. We unfortunately just don't really have a ton of great physical moves at our disposal, so dealing with a steel Pokemon like Skarmory, it's tough. Therefore, after losing one more time, I decide it's time to get out of the gym. There are so many trainers to battle, and at the very least, even if I don't have any new strategies, I will be massively leveled, well, maybe not massively, but I will be leveled up, making the gym a little bit easier, or maybe a little bit easier. So we come back after doing all of that, and now we're at level 59. Unsurprisingly, we one-shot Swellow. Now against Pelipper, it's still going to be a 2-shot, Supersonic confuses me, so we're getting exactly the same thing as last time. But this time I hit myself in confusion, and I decide, all right, well, we're going to need a lot of health for Skarmory. If we're going to get bad luck like that, I'm just going to reset. So we knock out Swellow once again, and hopefully this time Pelipper is less obnoxious. We go for return, Supersonic misses, and we get the Hyper Potion. We're nearly one-shotting Pelipper, which is good. And now out comes Skarmory. The best move I have is still return. Steel Wing does a lot, and it can raise its defense, and it has Sand Attack, causing me to miss. So after all that, we've maybe made it a 4-hit KO, and I have the Silk Scarf equipped. I do have pretty much as much attacking power on this Abra as I possibly could at this level. I don't know if this is going to work. I'll try one more time. We don't have anything tricky like King's Rock, and Pelipper can just attack us like it does in this battle. So we knock out the Pelipper, and now out comes Skarms. I'm going to go for Focus Punch, hoping that it does something else, but no, it just attacks. There is a 10% chance that Steel Wing misses. But are we once again having to rely on a 10% chance? And in case I didn't make it clear, the way Focus Punch works is that it's a one-turn attack. You get this priority charge up, and then as long as you're not attacked, you hit with a 150 base power fighting move. But of course, Skarmory's been hitting me, meaning the move does nothing. It's just a waste. In Emerald version, we exploit this to beat Brawly's meta type. But anyway, Skarmory again, I go for return, Steel Wing, return, Steel Wing, and we get the defense raise. It would be a 4-shot, but it doesn't matter. Skarmory 3-shots us. The truth is, there's still a lot of things I could do at this point without having to beat Winona, including the Team Aqua hideout. This will just give me more experience points, more chances for my Zigzagoon army to get rare candies, so I'm gonna have to level up a lot more than maybe I'd like, but what can I do? I'm a physical Abra. Alrighty, so now I've come back again, and I'm a level 62. I go for return, I one-shot Swellow. Maybe I'll one-shot Pelipper. Goes for Protect is fine. Do we one-shot? Not quite. We get confused, we've had that happen before, and we don't hit ourselves in confusion, very good. Protect. We snap out. Okay, good. Full health for Skarmory. This is what we want to see. We need a crit, maybe. Sand Attack? No, come on. Actually, this could work. If we just get lucky, no, we miss. And Defense Raise. Hooray! So all that work, and it's still a 3-shot. It still seems very unlikely. And just for the record, I do have the Silph Scarf equipped. So I can't be doing more damage. Do I just need to pray for a critical hit or very good accuracy? Remember, Winona has one more Pokemon. We haven't even seen it yet. After a few more losses, I used the rare candies I've accumulated, and, well, I'm a little bit of a higher level now, level 73. And now not only do we one-shot Swellow, but easily one-shot Pelipper, crit or no crit. And now against Skarmory, it's a bit of a different... Oh, stop using Sand Attack! It's a bit of a different calculation, as it's going to take... Oh, this is actually kind of bad. It's going to heal. Wow. This really didn't work out well for me. We're going to lose again. We're going to lose again. No. No matter what I do, I lose. Do I have something better? You know what? Maybe I'm going to go King's Rock. If nothing else, the 10% decrease shouldn't affect Swellow or Pelipper, but may be what we need to either get Skarmory not to heal or to flinch. So return against Swellow. All right, this is like my 20th battle versus Winona. Return against Pelipper. Very excellent. Skarmory, return. Steel Wing, fine. Return. Steel Wing, is it going to heal? Yes. All right, we need a flinch. Actually, maybe we don't. Return. Stand it. No, stop. Okay, you know what? Whatever. We beat it. Hooray. I think the crit may have even mattered. But now we still have that Altaria. We miss. It goes for Dragon Dance. And... Hey, we one-shot! I didn't think that would happen. Altaria is fairly bulky, but I guess we are at level 73. I don't know how happy to feel. I mean, the fact of the matter is Winona's badge will allow us to use traded Pokemon up to level 70. People get often confused thinking that I can't use my own Pokemon. It's just traded Pokemon, but our Abra is higher level than that, which is really funny. That's actually not usually what happens here. But at this point, since I've had to spend so much time getting ready for Winona, there's actually not that much to do. In fact, I've beaten all the trainers in Tate and Liza's gym. I just have to battle Tate and Liza, who are way easier in Ruby and Sapphire. In this game, they only have 2 Pokemon, and I have a Zigzagoon that just serves as the mandatory second Pokemon. we one-shot, so the Zigzagoon's actually going to gain a lot of levels, wasting a lot of time. I wonder if there's a way I can avoid the Zigzagoon gaining all those levels. Just trying to think about it. I mean, Shadow Ball is going to one-shot both, so I can maybe mess around a little bit. Actually, let's just return Zigzagoon. It goes for Psychic. Psychic. All right, we won. So we are such a high level. Oh, apparently Shadow Ball does not one-shot. Okay, I didn't know that. Also, Shadow Ball in Gen 3 is a physical attack, so it does one-shot the Lunatone. Soul Rock is healed. It won't one-shot it, but I'm not overly worried about Soul Rock. It can't really do all that much to Abra. And even though Shadow Ball inexplicably lowers special defense, until Gen 4, it's classified as a physical move, so we can use it to annihilate both Tate and Liza. And that means the only thing we really have left is some mop-up of the villain team, which is going to be really easy. And so we can skip ahead to Wallace. Wallace in Ruby and Sapphire as a gym leader is not really that difficult, especially at level 75. Return one-shots Love Disc. Whiscash, it might not. We're going to go for it. Critical hit may have mattered there. And then Celio, I'm going to go for Focus Punch because I thought it might go for Hail, but this is not Celio from Emerald. Oh my god, I'm going to lose. And I shouldn't. Okay, well, that was just... Sometimes you try to get a little too cute, and we didn't even one-shot it. So that kind of annoys me a bit. We should have first try victoried. Sorry, Abra. Let's do it now. I go for return. Love Disc is done. Whiscash, well, another crit. I don't know. Celio, this is probably a range. We don't get it. She might not be a range, but wasting a Hyper Potion here is fine. And yeah, it's looking like not a range. That's okay. It's a very bulky Pokemon. Seeking, we should one-shot. We don't. And it might have Swift Swim. But Wallace has another potion. So finally, I can use Focus Punch and actually hit. And at 150 base power, it is going to one-shot Seeking. My load, it comes out. It's going to be a two-shot. Water Pulse does decent damage, but this is what should have happened the first time. Easy first try victory. The one concern I do have is we're already at level 75, heading to the Elite Four. That is some wiggle room, but not a ton. And while there is technically one more TM move I can get, pretty much what you see here is what I have for the rest of the game. I don't know what else to say. Let's see how it goes. I spent 2 hours preparing, so prepare yourself for the level here. But Sidney's Mightyena, we get hit with Intimidate, and there is the White Herb, and we don't knock it out with Return. So I'm going to try something else. Now, one thing you may notice in a second as I go forth and battle Sidney is that I did have quite a few rare candies to use. And I haven't used them yet, so I'm at a lower level. But here's my idea. Okay, we still have White Herb. I'm going to go for Return. Sidney goes for Takedown, that's good. Sidney's going to heal, and then I go for Focus Punch, just like I did versus Wallace. Now, we have Absol. I'm going to go for Return. Swords Dance, it's going to heal. Oh, no, wait, Citrus Berry. Okay, we're fine. We can just outspeed. Cacturn, I go for Return. Cotton Spore, that's kind of bad. It's going to heal. No, it didn't heal, but Cotton Spore is fine. We can still use Focus Punch. Now, Sharpedo, we're going to go, oh, wow, yeah, well, that's kind of what happens when you get hit by a couple Cotton Spores. So let's try this a third time. For the record, I will be saving between Elite Four members. There is simply no reason not to. I have everything I could possibly need. There's no reason to leave. And this is really difficult. I'm going to go for Return. Sand Attack sucks, but we should hit with Focus Punch. There's a chance we miss. Okay, now we have the Absol. It's going to go for Snatch. Man, Focus Punch would have been great, but we knock it out. Luckily, the Sand Attack hasn't mattered yet. I'm going to go for Focus Punch. I expected the Cotton Spore. And this time we're only hit by one Cotton Spore. Unfortunately, Sharpedo is fast enough. We still don't outspeed. It goes for Swagger, which is kind of good. And then we miss. Crunch, we need to hit. Nope. All right, well, I can see the pathway to victory here. Maybe, no, let's keep not using the rare candies. I see it. It's going to take maybe a few more attempts, but we should get it soon. Alternatively, I could spend another 40 minutes getting some rare candies and voila, level 100. Who needs any wiggle room? We knock out Mightyena in one hit. We knock out Cacturn in one hit. easy now. Sharpedo. Notice Sidney has a totally different loadout now that Abra is level 100. Probably because, I don't know why the AI is doing that, but it doesn't matter. We haven't seen Shiftry yet, and, oh, well, Shiftry actually survived. Should have probably gone for Focus Punch there, and I'm going to do it now. It goes for double team, and we hit. Focus Punch, by the way, does check for accuracy, so it can miss, but things are good. I haven't taught a fourth move yet, just because I simply don't know what to teach, and I have a bunch of TMs in my bag. There is everything you can see. I have every item I could possibly ever want, and I'm going to equip the Shell Bell for Phoebe. Phoebe is a Ghost-type trainer, and so I've bought a couple Reflects. I'm hoping Reflect helps shield me from her Ghost-type attacks, but this is probably going to be significantly harder than Sidney, even though I have a super effective move. Now, one thing I realized is that this is not Emerald Phoebe, and so when I went for Reflect and I went for Confuse Ray, I'm like, oh yeah, this is different. I hit myself in Confusion, it goes for Shadow Punch, and the Reflect strategy, which would have worked really well on Emerald Dusclops logic, didn't work against this Dusclops. So we just have to attack. And we one-shot, which is good. Banette is next. We outspeed in one-shot. So maybe I was overthinking this. Banette, outspeed in one-shot. Now it's going to be Dusclops. We outspeed. Okay, yeah, I was really overthinking this. Now against Sableye, we outspeed. No one-shot, attract. Wow. That's annoying. No, come on, not like this. And then it uses Shadow Ball. All right, come on. Full restore. We're gonna lose. Well, maybe not. Shadow Ball hit. And there you can see the Shell Bell working. Hey, we won. Not really a first try victory, but it kind of feels like one. So that is the last time we're gonna be seeing Phoebe. We have 1,000,000 full restores, thanks to Pickup. We have no reason to leave. I am saving before every battle. This is it. Glacia is next. She's Ice type. Focus Punch could help, but like we've seen in other battles, we have to find our moments to use it. So Glacia. I'm going to go for Return, and it doesn't one-shot Light Screen, and this is a perfect moment for Focus Punch. So we've done a really good job getting it to low HP and then knocking it out with Focus Punch. Glacia 2 comes out, and we go for, all right, this is fine. Shadow Ball, less fine. And I know that she's not going to use a potion on 2 consecutive Pokemon, so I went for Return, and that was correct. And the Shell Bell's giving me a little bit of HP back. Now Celio, I'm going to go for Focus Punch. Once again, I'm thinking of the logic from Emerald, where the Celio always goes for Hail turn 1. This is a different Celio with different logic, so I had to learn the hard way. Return, Hail, oh, there's Hail. And actually, now we can go for Focus Punch, and you can see that the Shell Bell, listen, it's not leftovers, but there's no way to get leftovers in Ruby and Sapphire in the pre-game or the non-post game. Return. Hopefully it doesn't go for Shadow Ball. It does. That's okay. The Hail is definitely annoying. I'm going to go for Return here. And now we really need some decent luck versus Celio, and I just don't think we're going to get it. We go for Return. Shell Bell restores a bit. Oh, if we didn't get paralyzed. All right, well, if we didn't get paralyzed, maybe things would work out okay. I think we're on pace to win. So in this battle, instead of Shell Bell, I have Silk Scarf, and it makes a huge difference. Since we one-shot the first Glalie, the second Glalie seems like it has to go for Hail, meaning it doesn't go for Shadow Ball, meaning we can do the exact same exploit we did on Glalie 1 before, Return, then Focus Punch. Now against Celio, I'm going to go for Return, and it goes for Body Slam, no paralysis. That's really good. We knock it out. Now out comes another Celio. We can go for Return. Shell Bell would have been helpful here, but of course we can't have 2 items. And then even though I'm attracted, I'm going to go for Focus Punch, expecting a heal. I get the heal, and I get the Focus Punch. So now it all comes down to Wall Rain. I go for Return. It goes for Blizzard, Citrus Berry, Return, and there goes the battle. 2 trainers left. All our Abra has to do is defeat Drake and Steven Stone, and it will defeat all of Hoenn with just physical moves as an Abra. I'm very proud of this thing. All right, let's try and defeat Drake. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm going to go for Reflect. It goes for Rock Tomb. That's just like what it would do in Emerald. And then Return. I don't want 2 Rock Tombs. Reflect seemed like a good idea, but let's try, I don't know. I didn't like getting hit with 2 Rock Tombs, and that's pretty unlikely. Now, it went for Protect. Man, this is the same AI. So, okay, that crit works. Now out comes Flygon, return, doesn't one-shot, crunch, does nothing. We knock out Flygon, but now Salamence comes out, and don't forget, Salamence has Intimidate, which is really bad because we don't have another White Herb. It is going to be a 2-shot versus Salamence, which is... Oh, it is not. Oh, that's bad. Well, I can try Shell Bell here if it's not going to be a 2-shot to try and gain some HP back. But yeah, this is... It's not ideal. Not ideal at all. I wish we could get Salamence to come out at the end. I wish this was Gen 1. Okay. Return. Rock Tomb. That kind of annoys me, but alright, we got some HP back. Now it's going to go for Crunch, and that's fine. And it's still going to be a 2-shot. So we're going to have 130-something HP. 125. Man, I overcounted. Alright, maybe a crit? It's going to be a 3-shot. We know this. Alright, went for Fly. That's good, because I can go for Reflect. And Fly misses. Okay, that's good. Now it's going to heal after this crunch because I used Reflect. Wait, no. Citrus Berry. Okay, wait. Please win. All right, we've already beaten Atari before. Ugh, that didn't do as much as I wanted. Dragon Dance is fine. We're going to go for Shadow Ball here. Try to get it not to heal. No. At the very least, I can use the heal turn to set up another Reflect. Another Dragon Dance. It's outspeeding me at this point. Return. I need a crit. Takedown. No. For me. I needed a crit for me. I didn't specify. I can see the way we would win here, maybe, but we're going to really need Drake to cooperate with us. So, Shelgon uses Protect. That doesn't matter. Protect failing is good. And now it's going to heal. I'm going for Return. And you'll notice I've swapped back to Silk Scarf. I've realized I need the extra damage. So now Flygon, it's going to go for Crunch. And now at 145, Intimidate, we go for Return, and this is what I was hoping for, a crit on the Salamence, just a 6% chance, or just above that. Now we need to clutch it out. Return, it's not going to be a 2-shot. I go for Shadow Ball, Takedown. Okay, Altaria is going to heal. That's fine, I guess. Another crit. Well, that just seals the deal. Sandstorm, you know, great song, wrong move, wrong time. We have made it to Steven Stone. This one was kind of iffy. We needed 2 critical hits, but I'm going to use the Max Elixir. I'm going to save the game. We have 1 trainer left. This is it. Can Abra beat Ruby and Sapphire with just physical moves? Let's find out. Alrighty, so Steven leads with Skarmory. Remember how much we love Skarmory? I tried to go for Focus Punch, and it did go for Toxic, so it was a good predict by me, but unfortunately, we're poisoned, and Return doesn't knock it out. So that's bad. Like, really bad. I think one of my oldest viewers, Blue Manatee, put it best. Well, we definitely can't have that. All right, let's try again. Focus Punch. Spikes is good. Okay, and now a crit, maybe? Yeah, well, I don't know what I was expecting there. Now it's going to heal, so I can go for Focus Punch and get it to half HP again. And Return. Oh, there's the crit. Yay. Okay, now Credilli is out. I went for Focus Punch, it went for a status move, and I hit myself in Confusion. Darn it. And then it knocked me out. Okay, this is looking really bad. This is looking really bad. All right, so Focus Punch. Nope, not going to work if he uses Steel Wing. So I basically needed to select Spikes, and then I need a crit, and then I need Credilli to use Confuse Ray. Okay, Spikes is good. There we go. All right, Return, Steel Wing, and now I can go Focus Punch again, and now I need a crit either here, no, or here, no, or miss. Hey, that works too. Okay, so now Credilli, I go for Focus Punch. Ancient Power, yeah, oh god. Okay, how am I gonna do this? It's a really bad sign when you've been battling someone for 5 minutes and not made it past his second Pokemon, but we're pretty much doing the exact same thing. Of course, Skarmory goes for Toxic, but I want to see what's going to happen here. I have Iron Tail now, the last TM I could use, and it does one-shot Credilli, so that's really good. Claydol is now out. I can go for Shadow Ball, and it nearly one-shots, but here's the issue. If we're toxic, oh, it can one-shot. Great, so it's a range. And now I need Focus Punch, but yeah, there's no way to use Focus Punch where the Aggron isn't going to hit me. I mean, I guess it could miss with Thunder or go for Solar Beam, but that doesn't seem likely. Well, let's try to get a battle where we're not poisoned. Maybe that'll give us more insight. So I'm going to go Focus Punch. Spikes is perfect, and we don't get the crit. I'm going to go for Focus Punch again, and we get a 10% miss chance. That's already absurd. Iron Tail hits, which, oh, it doesn't knock it out, but that's okay. That's okay. I should have gone for Focus Punch here. I just went for Iron Tail trying to get the defense boost, but all right, some good luck, some bad luck. We don't get the range on Shadow Ball either, but Light Screen is fine. Wasting a full restore is fine. I mean, we're getting, okay, there's the knockout in one hit. We're getting suboptimal luck, but this is so far so okay. And then I go for Iron Tail, it misses. Yeah, oh, Earthquake. Yeah. Also, I don't know why I confused Iron Tail for Steel Wing there for a second. Iron Tail lowers defense, not raises defense. I'm sure someone already put it in the comments, but yeah, that's not... This was a little misplayed, but what do we do? Focus Punch, for the record, even though I would have tanked the attack, it wouldn't have worked. And it definitely would have one-shot, but I can't use it. I'm not sure what to feel right now. Twitch J-Rose, what are your thoughts? I just think this will take a while, but this will happen. Well, who am I to argue with myself? I guess we just have to keep going. Getting crits, spikes is good there. Crits are good there. Kind of willed that one into existence. Iron Tail, we get the range. Pretty good. Claydol, I don't think I need the range, and I don't get it, so that's all right. No, what? Earthquake? Oh, I thought it would go for Light Screen. Oh well, okay, we're at 90 HP. Aggron now. I guess we just have to go for Focus Punch and hope, and our hopes are answered. I have the Lax Incense equipped, giving it a 5% chance to miss. Focus Punch annihilates it, but I guess in retaliation, Steven goes to his ace, Metagross, and... oh. I'm not feeling so great about this. Twitch J-Rose, I need some encouragement. Okay, so the odds of winning this are extremely low. Like, absurdly low. Basically, what we need to have happen are the following. We need Skarmory to miss at least one attack so I'm not poisoned. Then we need the range and the 70% hit on Claydol. Sorry, not Claydol. On, I mean, it's not even too much luck-based. This could take, like, hours. It is a 1 in 24,000 chance. There we go. Unless there's a strategy I'm not seeing here, guys, I'm going to say this one's not possible. I haven't gone to use this music in a really long time, but yeah, this one's going down as a loss. Assuming my math is correct and all the things I believe I need to happen for me to win need to happen, recall, I've never even made it past Metagross to the final Pokemon. 1 in 24,000 is the same odds as getting Pokerus. In Ruby and Sapphire, it just appears the lack of viable moves, combined with the final trainer being a Steel-type trainer, just made this too darn difficult, and Metagross is an amazing, amazing Pokemon. I know sometimes people accuse me of only doing challenges that I know I'm gonna win, and that I always kind of find a way so that there's no suspense, but you guys have to know there are some challenges that just aren't practically possible. Sure, with the tasks or in theory, 100% this is doable, but realistic? Within like a day, a week, a month, or even a year? Alright, well within a month or a year probably, but I won't be there for you to do that. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Hey everyone, how's it going? Long time no see. Now, I'm pretty bummed that Abra was not able to beat Ruby and Sapphire with just physical moves, but there is another game in Gen 3 where Abra might, just might be able to do it. Of course, we're talking about Pokemon Emerald. Now, Emerald has quite a few important differences between Ruby and Sapphire, including with all the gym leaders, which I believe are harder, but Steven Stone isn't the champion, so that might make Wallace the champion a little bit easier. But the biggest factor in me thinking that Emerald might end up being possible is the fact that Abra gets to learn a bunch more moves. Because in Pokemon Emerald, they brought back the Move Tutor. And look at all these moves Abra can use. Some of them look amazing. Too bad a lot of them are locked behind the post game. If we narrow down the ones that don't require the Battle Frontier, we get this list, which is a pretty good list. Then again, when we narrow it down to moves where we can actually physically attack, we get these 4 moves. 2 of them being Metronome and Mimic. I can't see myself using Metronome, but it would be hilarious if I used Mimic. Oh my god, a Gen 1 callback. But going back to our second list, I do see some moves and some strategies that are open to us now, ones that might be very interesting. And so I'm wondering if the subtle differences between Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire will allow me to finally beat at least a Hoenn game with just Abra. Having said all this, it's easier said than done. Remember that it's not as if the early game is going to be easy for Abra. There are some differences here, but it's still going to be an absolute pain to get through some of these early gyms where, once again, we're stuck relying on struggle. So I did a lot of EV training, leveling up, all that beautiful stuff. One thing you need to know is that Zigzagoons cannot get rare candies right away, so my Zigzagoon army is substantially less effective. But after 8 hours, 30 minutes in-game time, we battle Roxanne. Now, Roxanne is slightly easier because her Pokemon are lower level, but slightly harder because she has 3 Pokemon instead of 2. And I actually think the 3 instead of 2 is a big deal, especially when Struggle deals recoil damage. And even at level 23, which has taken me forever to get to, we still don't really make much progress. Although, we didn't beat Roxanne to level 28 in Ruby and Sapphire, so I can't sit there and look completely shocked. Well, I tried battling her at a lot of different levels, but now we're at level 28, so Struggle is going to 2-shot the first Geodude. That's part of the advantage of it being a lower level. But now there's another Geodude I have to deal with. Rock Tomb is of course going to hit every time. I have the Oran Berry, and now we make it to Nose Pass, which is still at level 15, by the way. And if we outspeed, it's always going to go for Rock Tomb, but oh, I really thought it was going to miss there. It didn't. So all we need is for one of the Rock Tombs to miss, and we win. Or so I thought. It actually was a little bit more complicated than that, but we get the win nonetheless. One of the annoying factors is Geodude can use Defense Curl like it did there, and that crit really saved us. But there's the miss we needed, so that's really good. But contrary to what I thought, Nose Pass can go for Harden. I thought it has to go for Rock Tomb, but I guess when it attacks, it has to go for Rock Tomb. And Harden early is terrible because now I do like no damage, and so I really need a miss or a crit. Of course, Roxanne has every single potion in the known universe, but one thing potions can't heal is a critical hit. But in the end, at the same level as Ruby and Sapphire, we were able to beat Roxanne. Strategies pretty similar. I mean, let's be real. We only have one move to use in both the games. How different are they really going to be? Something I can do differently is when I choose to battle the gym leaders, and I battle Brawly a little bit earlier at level 29. It's going to be a 2-shot from a chop. That's pretty good. I mentioned this a little while ago, but we're going to exploit Focus Punch on Metatite. It has to go for Focus Punch. Or so I thought. Okay, there it is. All right, well, I guess you can go for bulk up too, but that's fine. And now this Makuhita is not too bad. It does no bulk up, which is annoying, and it has a citrus berry, which is even more annoying. If it starts going for arm thrust, we actually could be in a little bit of trouble. Vital throw, oh, we're gonna lose, aren't we? Oh, that's annoying. If I were a higher level, I would have won. In the end, just like in Ruby and Sapphire, I had to do other things, but there's more trainers, and I did the Trick House, which is just gonna, I'm just gonna speed through it. It's just gonna make Makuhita a lot easier. I mean, Makuhita is still very, very, very annoying. These super potions are actually, wait, am I gonna lose here? Wait, we lost? We're at a higher level than Ruby and Sapphire, but again, the one extra Pokemon is making a huge difference. Like a huge difference. The recoil damage is more deadly. Oh, 2 crits in this battle. All right, 60 HP. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the gameplay again. Said that line already. See, this sucks. This is why I hate doing 2 videos in one. I can't reuse my lines. But, oh my god, reversal? Holy mackerel. This is a really good example of how the gym leaders are indeed, especially for struggling Abra, and I actually mean that in both senses of the word, really much more difficult. At this point, I guess the smartest thing to do would be battle Rival 2. She's also a little different. Nature Power turns into Swift from Lombre. It's a 2-shot from Struggle Abra. And then Marsh Stomp comes out. It's going to be a 3-shot Mud Shot. No? Okay, we're really stuck. Thankfully, through good old-fashioned brute force, I was eventually able to beat Brawly, but it was really annoying and tedious, and this Makuhita really sucks. But, as you probably expected, we just needed a critical hit after it used Bulk Up, and we get the victory. But not only are we going to get a victory versus Brawly, as soon as I head back to Rival 2, we're going to get a quick victory versus her as well. And the biggest reason I was able to do this, Marshtomp sometimes goes for Bide, and that's really good, because Bide is terrible. Gen 1 callbacks galore, so that'll bring us to who I believe was the toughest gym leader in Ruby and Sapphire, Watson. Watson was terrible. Sure, there's not both Magnemite and Magneton, but there's still Magneton, and there's 4 Pokemon. And in my first battle versus Watson, I learned that Electrike, the new Pokemon, well actually there's a Mectric too, but it doesn't matter, they have Static, which can paralyze me, and this is gonna go terribly again, I can already tell. I'm really so glad I get to do this again. And guess what? It's even more tedious, because remember how I said Zigzagoons can't pick up rare candies? Well, guess what? They can pick up rare candies if I level them up, and since I can't use them in battle, that means I have to bike back and forth and level up my Zigzagoons in the daycare. Because if they're all level 21 plus, then they can get rare candies via pickup, which I can use to raise my level the way I did in Ruby and Sapphire. So in that sense, Emerald is way more tedious. Hooray! Remember, I beat Watson starting at level 41 in Ruby and Sapphire. Well, we're at level 50. Level freaking 50. We can one-shot Voltorb, that's great, and we can one-shot Electrike. I'm ready for Static, so I have a Cherry Berry equipped. Magneton, we're not going to one-shot, so it goes for Thunder Wave, which is why I have the Cherry Berry. Then it confuses me, and this is called good old Parafusion. It's also not a 2-shot, so we can get the Super Potion. It's just never-ending fun. The fun never ends, and I don't even think I have enough HP. Well, I mean, now I definitely don't, but I think Struggle would have knocked me out. I'm at level 50! Thankfully, it only takes one more battle to actually break through, and holy mackerel, am I not going to miss doing this part of the game. Because as much as Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald do diverge in their strategy and in the way we're going to tackle the harder battles, these earlier battles, it's just so tedious, and Emerald's worse, as you can tell. The extra Pokemon makes such a massive difference. And those move tutor moves I talked about, technically there's one in Mauville, but it's not one that's all that useful. I don't really want to use Swagger here. So, my favorite thing about this battle is that when we knock out Manectric, the recoil takes us to 1 HP, which always feels kind of nice. But feeling nicer is that we have once again, finally, made it, well, not quite. You know that Secret Power is just a little bit away, but we've almost made it to Secret Power, and we had to go and daycare all our Zigzagoons so they can give us rare candy. This took a really long time, but it's over. All right, I'm going to skip ahead to Mount Chimney. I mean, Abra now should be much better because it's level 53. And remember how I said I wasn't going to use Metronome? Well, I still have it because why not? The problem with Metronome is it could potentially give us a special move. So it could result in a lot of resets, but Maxi is pretty easy. We get some pretty good confusions, and I don't know, the fact we're at level 53 really helped out here. So first try victory. Yay. That said, I have a really cool idea for how to beat Flannery. So I'm going to go for Teleport. It goes for Magnitude, and now I can mimic Magnitude. And since Magnitude's a physical move, I can use it, but I don't need to use it versus Numel or Slugma. Where I might want to use it is against Camerupt. So let's go for Magnitude. Magnitude 6. We knock it out. And now against Torkoal, we have Magnitude 7. It doesn't knock it out. Sunny Day is fine. And Magnitude 7 knocks it out. Mimic in Gen 3, baby. Just so it's crystal clear, in Generation 1, you get to select whichever move you wish to mimic, and you get for the rest of the battle. Starting in Gen 2 and beyond, you just mimic the last move used, and then you can use it for the rest of the battle. So it's significantly worse That's why I don't believe I've ever actually used Mimic seriously in a challenge run before. Someone fact check me on that, but it felt really good to use it here. And genuinely, I think it was the right strat. But all right, let's calm down because remember, Norman was also pretty terrible. He does only have one slacking now, but it's strong and he has 4 Pokemon. So yeah, I don't know what to make of this. It might be easier. It could also be harder. Like I always say, there's one way to find out. All right, so Norman leads with a Spinda. Spinda's not very good, and we can go for return and knock it out. Hooray. Vigoroth comes out next. We go for return. Don't knock it out. We come really close. That is going to waste a Hyper Potion, and we can go for return and not knock it out again. So it might not be a range. Slacking actually comes out next. Goes for Facade. I survive on 3 HP, and unfortunately... Oh, wait. After the Citrus Berry... Okay, if we one-shot this Lanoon, we win. We do! Oh my gosh! I didn't think that was going to happen! First try victory! Let's go! Now, I should note, Abra is 4 levels higher than it was in Ruby and Sapphire, but that was a far more consistent and reasonable way to beat Norman than what we got in Ruby and Sapphire. So, hard to say which version is more difficult overall. We definitely struggled with the early game, but because of those extra levels, the mid-game has been super great. What about the late mid-game? Dude, what are these categories? The early, late, mid-game? I mean, technically that's possible too. I guess Winona would be the early, late, mid-game. Freaking silly. Now, like in Ruby and Sapphire, I at least want to see how the battle is going to go. Return one-shot Swablu, pretty good. Tropius comes out next. We got some different Pokemon we're dealing with. Aerial Ace, not a big deal. We know a heal is coming, but 119 going into the last 3 is decent. Pelipper comes out next. This was so annoying in Ruby and Sapphire. Protect is fine. We have plenty of power points. And we don't knock it out. There's Supersonic, but okay. Now all that's left is, unfortunately, Skarmory. Remember how great that thing was? And hey, Sand Attack. Looks like we got the same Skarmory. And Steel Wing. Just memories. So nostalgic for all this. And Hyper Potion. Yeah, I mean, looks like when it comes to... Oh, there's a critical hit. Wait a minute. Now, I think... Yeah, well, we could have beaten Skarmory, but... Didn't work out. All right, let's not do this. Remember, we were at level 73 when we beat Winona and Ruby and Sapphire, so we're way behind that right now. So I go and do all the plot stuff I need to do, and I battle Winona again. I'm at level 67, so I'm not as high a level, but I do think that this version of Winona might be a little easier just because of the Pokemon she uses. We still don't one-shot Tropius, which is, I mean, it is annoying, but it also doesn't matter because it wastes a Hyper Potion. We knock out Tropius. Next comes out Pelipper. We're not going to one-shot it. Oh, we will. Okay. Looks like I don't know what I'm talking about. And then Skarmory is probably going to be a 4-shot. Of course it goes for Sand Attack. Why wouldn't it? And then Steel Wing doesn't raise defense. But since we don't knock it out, it's going to heal. Hooray. I'm just so happy. And of course we're going to miss. Oh, nice crit. When are we going to miss? Oh, another Sand Attack. Why, thank you. In a game without the badge boost glitch, I'm so grateful. And then Altaria comes out and we do pretty good damage. No one-shot. But after the Oranberry, it doesn't heal, although I think she's out of potions. And you know what? We don't get that bad of accuracy luck. And at level 68, finally, Emerald Abra is doing a little bit better than Ruby and Sapphire Abra. Take that, Ruby and Sapphire Abra. Of course, I think Ruby and Sapphire Abra, for the time being, will get the last laugh because Tate and Liza are really difficult. We're 3 levels behind, but the bigger deal is the Claydol and Xatu that precede the Solrock and Lunatone. And to that end, I'm not going to knock out my own Zigzagoon here. I'm not as confident about victory. It's going to gain a little bit of experience points. That's not a big deal because Earthquake will knock it out, even though it's level 22. It's one of my rare candy Zigzagoons. I can use Shadow Ball on Claydol, but Claydol's a very bulky Pokemon. It tanks it no problem. Lunatone goes for Calm Mind. Unlike in Ruby and Sapphire, we don't one-shot it, and as I predicted, Tate and Liza is going to be substantially more difficult this time around. Having said that, there's still a bunch more trainers for me to fight, and remember that army of Zigzagoons and the rare candies I wanted? Well, I'm at level 86 now, and yeah, kind of overkill. Definitely, we are significantly higher level than Ruby and Sapphire Zigzagoon, which ended in the 70s. In my defense, I've already done one of these runs before, and I just want to get to the part that I wasn't able to beat. Again, I get that it's a different game, but yeah, we beat Tate and Liza. Sure, this is a harder Tate and Liza, but there was never any doubt that the run would continue from here. The same thing goes for Hoenn. Wallace wasn't very difficult, and Hoenn's team is very similar to that. We go for return, knock out the love disc. Crawdont is different, but return, oh, it doesn't knock it out. That's okay. Now, one big difference is that instead of Focus Punch, which would have been great here, I have Dynamic Punch. Now, Dynamic Punch only hits 50% of the time. The good news is I can get hit before. The bad news is it is weaker and deals significantly less damage. You also may notice I had left some Lanoon in the daycare so that they could pick up a leftovers, and I have Pokerus. It's uncanny. The odds of us beating Steven were about the odds of us getting Pokerus, and in our Emerald run, we get Pokerus. If there was a better sign to show you that this run is going to be successful, I can't tell you what else it could be. I mean, seriously, it's truly absurd. I mean, for certain, I battle way more wild Pokemon and go through those battles way quicker than I can do individual battles versus an Elite Four member. Those take a lot more time, and I have to think. I can't just mash A and speed up the game 100 times. Sorry, I probably should stop talking for a second because I'm going to battle Hoenn, but you'll notice that I did teach Focus Punch because, I mean, I wasn't really going to use Mimic again, and with Focus Punch and Return, we just destroy the team. So now can I get back to my speech? Thank you, me. I mean, I'm acting like someone's interrupting me. I can just talk through whatever battles I want. It's my voiceover. But yeah, the point I was trying to make is that it does make sense why I get Pokerus more often than I can go for 1 in 20,000 odds in battle. Those battles take a lot longer and require mental energy, but it is still very funny. As I save in front of the Elite Four, you can see that's taken a very long time to get here. And as I start to battle the Elite Four, you're going to really see how Emerald's move tutors are going to make a massive difference. And no battle is this going to be more evident than against good old Sidney. So rather than using Return, I'm going to go for Substitute because Mightyena tends to go for Sand Attack. Now behind a Substitute, I mean, it shouldn't have gone for Sand Attack there, but it did and I knock it out. As I was saying, behind a Substitute, okay, stop going for status moves. Can I get this point across? Okay, Shift Tree. No, it's going to go for a status move. Okay, can one of you actually attack me? Like, the AI is really bad with Substitute. No, attack me so I can make my points. Okay, I promise you, there is a point to be made here. Absol, you're going to do it. No! Okay, so I have to tell you and not show you. If the Substitute breaks, Focus Punch still works. Unfortunately, or fortunately if you're me, the AI to this day can have real issues dealing with Substitute and understanding how it works, and that's not really why I wanted to use Substitute. I wasn't trying to exploit anything. I was trying to go for Sub Punch, as it's called, but win's a win. All right, time to battle Fweb. So against Fweb, she's always going to go for Protect turn 1, so Substitute, of course. You'll also notice I have leftovers. You have no idea how long it takes to get leftovers, and that's why I have Pokerus. It's so rare. I mean, it's terrible. I didn't used to think it was even possible, but thanks to the daycare, by the way, I'm just going to sweep. Thanks to the daycare and very high level Lanoon, and then just battling endless wild Pokemon, you too can get, oh, that didn't even break my Substitute. But yeah, I didn't really think this would be a big deal. It was easy in Ruby and Sapphire, and with Substitute, it's even easier. So yeah, that is 2 battles, 2 victories. Take that, Fweb. Now we're on to Glacia. She was pretty easy, and Glacia's AI is really bad in this. I mean, for me, really good. And by really good, I mean extremely exploitable. So Glacia leads with Celio. It's going to go for Hail. I know this. So I can just go for Focus Punch, but why? I'll go for Substitute because there's a solid chance it can't knock out my Substitute. And I was correct. So I get to use Focus Punch, and I still have a Substitute. So now Glalie is out, and it goes for Icy Wind. I don't lose speed because I'm behind a Substitute, and Focus Punch knocks out the Glalie. So now we have another Glalie. I'm going to go for Dynamic Punch. Unfortunately, it misses. This is why I have Dynamic Punch, but it is a 50-50 shot. I go for it again, and so far we're at odds, and we knock out the Glalie. The Hail stopped, so time to exploit Substitute again, because Celio has to go for Hail. I don't have to worry about the Hail because I have leftovers, although, truth be told, Hail does happen first. I go for Dynamic Punch because I want the Substitute to be around for Wall Rain. Of course I miss, but then Celio misses, so what do I do here? And I'll go Focus Punch, Double Edge. Hey! I love the substitute. What a bulky Abra. And now the game is over. No matter what Walrein does, this should knock it out. Ride that surf. And although there's no Pokemon Stadium 2 quote for Focus Punch, wow, this Pokemon wasn't right at all. And there goes the battle. So, 3 battles, 3 victories. I'm feeling pretty good. By the way, I have 2 leftovers. I didn't just get 1, I got 2. Not on purpose, by the way. That's how many battles I had. Just in case you want to know how seriously I was taking this. The final Elite Four member is Draki, the Dragon-type Elite Four member. Now, you might notice I don't know Return. I deleted it. But did you know there's a second TM for Return in Pacific Logtown? Yep, there is, and that's why we don't have it. I don't need Shadow Ball anymore since we got by Fweb. And if we stay behind a substitute, we're going to deal way more damage to Salamence. I have a good feeling about this. Can we go 4 for 4? As we know, there is a high chance Shelgon either goes for Rock Tomb or Protect. We get Protect. And now, you know what's coming. We're going to focus. It's not going to break. We don't lose speed, but it doesn't knock it out. That's annoying. And a withdraw there. Okay, fascinating. Unfortunately, it's resisted, but... thought Return might do the trick there, but it's okay. Salamence might heal, so I'm going to go for Substitute. I was right that it healed, and we didn't get intimidated as I wanted. That means this is going to be a 2-shot. Rock Slide has a chance to miss, but 2-shot Salamence. Flygon comes out. I'm going to go for... let's just go for Return. It goes for Earthquake. Good idea not to go for Substitute, and I knock out the Flygon. Shelgon comes out here. I'm going to go for Substitute. It goes for Protect. I thought it would heal. Now I'm behind a Substitute, and this is probably it. I don't know if you've been seeing my face throughout this entire battle, but if not, I mean, I can't contain my enthusiasm here. This is going about as well as I ever could hope. And we knock out the Altaria with a couple returns. Kingdra, little worried here. I'm going to go for Substitute. It goes for Dragon Dance. And if this one-shots, oh my, Body Slam takes out the Substitute. Focus Punch? No! So close. But do we still win? Full Restore. I'm going to go for Return. One more Return. Oh, we outspeed, we win. That is 4-4-4. By the way, that is not the Twitch vocals. Both YouTube and Twitch Jeros reacted to that the exact same way. That is an insane battle. I can't believe we went 4 for 4, but when I said that the Move Tutor moves could make a difference, this is what I was thinking about. I waited until the Elite Four. I made sure I didn't use a move too early. I didn't lock myself out of any strategies, and now all we have left is Wallace. It sucks in a way that I can't beat Steven Stone to become champion, because I really would like to beat him with this Abra. I mean, against that Skarmory, we could just set up substitutes for days. But let's calm down. Maybe Wallace will surprise me. Let's see. So Wallace leads with Wailord, and Wailord likes to go for Water Spout first. So I'm going to go for Return. It's going to lower the damage of Water Spout. Really lower the damage. To the point where if I go for Substitute, okay, Rain Dance is fine. And now I can knock it out with Return. I am behind a Substitute. This is huge. Tentacruel, I'm going to go for Return. And Hydro Pump is fine because it's going to heal, allowing me to set up another Substitute as it does heal. Full Restore is fine. I'm going to set up another Substitute, hoping for a Hydro Pump miss here. Going to go for Return. Hydro Pump miss would be clutch. Toxic. I love it. Yes. Okay, still behind the Substitute. Ludicolo, we can go for Focus Punch. We Focus Punch. Leech Seed. Oh my, and it one-shots. Whiscash. Let's go for Focus Punch. Amnesia. I can't make this up. Full Restore. We're going to knock it out with 2 returns. 1 return, 2 returns. I'm not even using Dynamic Punch. Gyarados, no Intimidate. I'm behind a Substitute. 1 return, D-Dance. I think I still outspeed. And there is 1 Pokemon left. Milotic. Focus Punch. Surf. Finally, my Substitute is knocked out. Focus Punch almost knocks out Milotic. And Return. We just went 5 for 5. 5 first try victories. No need to save in between. We obliterated the Elite Four. What a difference between Ruby and Sapphire and Emeralds. I really thought Dynamic Punch would be a big difference maker, but Substitute just absolutely changed everything. But you know what's gonna happen now. I don't always battle Steven, but after what happened in Ruby and Sapphire, there's only one way this video could end. I mean, I guess in theory I could have traded this Abra into Ruby and Sapphire, but I think it would be far more fitting to beat the harder version of Steven in Pokemon Emerald, whereas Pokemon are even higher level. As easy as the Elite Four ended up being, I don't anticipate this battle being easy whatsoever. I can go for Substitute, and unfortunately goes for Steel Wing, and it is enough to knock out the Substitute, which sucks. Now, I do have lefties, and I can go for Dynamic or Focus Punch. I'm going for Dynamic Punch because I want the confusion and to see how much it does, and bit of a yikes situation here. I mean, we're relatively safe, but not all that safe. Because although it'll occasionally go for Toxic and Spikes, level 77 Skarmory is more than bulky enough to really keep my Abra at bay. And although we can use Substitute and do a really good job to mitigate what Skarmory can do, Skarmory definitely has the edge here. We're losing HP much faster than it, and eventually I'm actually going to run out of power points for Substitute. So it does finally hit itself in Confusion, but its defense is so high, it really doesn't matter. We are chipping away slowly but surely, and finally Dynamic Punch does the trick, but that's just one Pokemon. Now Credilli I go for Substitute hoping for Leech Seed. I get Ancient Power, and that's enough to knock it out. So I have to go for Dynamic Punch, which misses, and this is kind of how I thought the Steven battle would go. In Ruby and Sapphire, I think again we could sweep through, but this battle's going to be tough, and I don't know if even this Abra is capable of beating Steven. In my next battle, something really annoying happened. While it's true that the AI can switch into any Pokemon they want, they typically will switch into the same Pokemon, but for some reason, I guess because I had way more HP, Steven swapped into Metagross instead of Credilli. We do hit with a very clutch Dynamic Punch, but even after Metagross hits itself in Confusion, and then I get off a Focus Punch, we're not really in a great situation here. There's no safe way to set up a Substitute and go for Focus Punch, and Dynamic Punch won't do enough, and Metagross's attack is so high that Earthquake just absolutely obliterates me. And that was Earthquake. It has Shadow Ball. We're back to battling again and again in order to try and come up with some semblance of a strategy, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, right now I'm drawing blanks. In this battle, you'll notice I try something a little bit different, or at least you'll notice I have Swagger, trying to get hits in Confusion, and by raising the attack, those hits will do more damage. And due to some pretty good luck, I do make it past both Skarmory and Credilli, but then against Metagross, it's just a 50-50 shot. If Metagross doesn't hit itself in Confusion, I'm done. And that was with or without Swagger, so that was my thought process, that everything does so much damage. Might as well try for the luck, but wasn't doing me much good. It does seem that just like in Ruby and Sapphire, Metagross is going to be the big problem. And I do have the go behind to Substitute and then either go for Swagger or Focus Punch. Against Skarms, I like to go for Focus Punch just because I don't find the Swagger does enough, and 3 Focus Punches is enough, typically not to get Skarmory to heal and to knock it out. Unfortunately, I'm often not behind a Substitute, and this is where I have to go for the 50-50 do or die Swagger. Metagross hits itself in Confusion, it does about an 1/8. Then I can go behind a Substitute and we get the second hit in Confusion. If we can get a third one, which we do, Focus Punch doesn't knock it out, and now Steven is going to heal. I can go for Swagger again. Since Metagross is healed from Confusion, it's now +4 in attack, and if it hits itself in Confusion, it's going to do a lot to itself. And it does here. That's great. One more, and I think it knocks itself out. And that's exactly... oh, well, almost did. Now we make it to our Moldo. We don't have Iron Tail yet. Maybe we're going to need it. Our Moldo is Rock Bug. It goes for Ancient Power, knocks out my Substitute. It's going to be a 2-shot with Focus Punch. But if I go for Substitute and it goes for Ancient Power, if it gets the boost... I mean, this is really done. I can just keep going behind Substitutes, but it doesn't matter. So this is kind of a problem. I can try for the do or die Dynamic Punch, but... oh, there was the boost. Yeah, we made it to the 3rd Pokemon again. I mean, this definitely seems a lot more possible than Ruby and Sapphire, but this is not the plan. I mean, the biggest reason this just isn't going to work is even when the Metagross ends up knocking itself out, and even when I am behind a Substitute, I just simply have nothing for our Moldo. I can go for a do or die swagger, but all that does is put it within healing range and just kind of reset the same problem I just had, where it's a do or die swagger. That plus focus punch is just not enough to knock it out. Steven can use 2 full restores as well, and inevitably the luck is not going to break my way. So Armaldo is proving to be really annoying. I do theoretically have Iron Tail, which would be super effective, and maybe that would be instead of Dynamic Punch, but I just don't know. We haven't even gone through half of Steven's team yet. I've been at this for over an hour. That's longer than the Elite Four with the preparation time. I did decide to get rid of Dynamic Punch, and I have Reflect. The thought process is that now Substitute will take 2 hits instead of 1, which is pretty good. And again, for some reason I can't explain, at this point, it's Credilli that started coming out instead of Skarmory. Now, we saw I use Ancient Power before, but it can go for a status move. I can go for Reflect, it goes for Ingrain. So, in theory, Ancient Power, and it doesn't knock out my Substitute. Credilli should heal here, so I go for another Focus Punch, and eventually, I will knock out Credilli, which is pretty good. I do need to be careful, though. I think Credilli's going to heal again, and I'm wrong. We get really lucky it doesn't attack me, because I gotta be behind this Substitute for Metagross, which is what I figured was coming out next. And now we gotta go for Swagger. It doesn't hit itself in Confusion, which is fine. Reflect doesn't matter anymore. Now we just need... it snapped out. At this point, it comes down to a coin flip. If it hits itself in Confusion, the battle continues. Pretty good. Now we gotta get behind a Substitute. That requires us winning another coin flip, which we lose. And now if it snaps out, I think the battle is over. But it hits itself in Confusion. That's excellent. Because now that means we can use Focus Punch. Snaps out. Shadow Ball. Is this going to do enough damage? Yes! With a crit. I didn't think it would otherwise. So now we've actually made it to the 4th Pokemon, which is Armaldo. So all this is really done is just kind of swapped around the order. And with Armaldo, we kind of have a terrible situation. I can use Reflect to Substitute last longer, but I also have to go for Swagger so it doesn't attack. And that means if it does attack, it's always going to knock out the Substitute, Reflect or no Reflect. And now I just kind of have to rely on luck where it hits itself in Confusion, and it doesn't. So, new PB, that's 4 Pokemon in, but we still really haven't made much progress versus Armaldo itself. It was at this point I started to realize the futility of what I was doing. I put so many arbitrary rules on this. Only Abra, no special moves, but also no double team. I tend to ban that. And if you ever wondered why, well, watch this battle versus Steven. Because double team is kind of the great equalizer in a solo run. And by equalizer, I mean the most unfair strategy in the world that every Pokemon should always use always, because it's really cheap, especially when you pair it with Substitute. Because at this point, what can the AI really do? I mean, the truth is, if we look at the strategy I was going for 50% after 50% after 50%. I'm not sure what the odds would be of the strategy I was going for, and I looked into a lot of other strategies, going to the battle frontier, getting more TMs, but it got to the point where I realized, who even cares? I mean, I've never really even considered beating Steven to be mandatory. I'm upset I wasn't able to beat him in Ruby and Sapphire because that's the end of the game, but beating Wallace was the end of the game. And not to get overly pseudo deep in a YouTube video about an Abra using physical moves, but this kind of is a really good example of how these runs are what we make of them. Not using double team, only using physical moves, the end being Wallace versus Steven. It's all up to the player. What is fun for you? What makes it interesting? And I'll be honest with you, I just didn't find Steven all that interesting. He's just too difficult for an Abra. And I'm very happy to say I didn't win. I mean, I did. I used double team and you're watching the winning battle right now. But did it feel like a victory? Did my face light up? Well, you'll see for yourself. The answer is no, it didn't. I look like, okay, it's time to move on. Because although most of my videos end in victories, I am perfectly happy with videos ending in losses. I do like to win, but it's also really interesting when a Pokemon just isn't really capable of winning. In some of those cases, it's me. I didn't think of the strategy and maybe someone else could have, which is really cool. In some cases, no one really can. It's just too luck-based. Regardless, it's kind of fun for the outcomes to be varied, for it not always to be positive. The fact that I can just accept a loss kind of makes these runs more interesting, because it means that I can try all sorts of things, and if it ends up not working out, so what? There's going to be another video, in this case, tomorrow. And that's all I gotta say. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something. I don't know. But I'll be back soon with a new video. Take care.